The police shouted warnings, the crowd refused to move, and in the middle of it all stood a thin young man with glasses, his arms being twisted behind his back. Cameras clicked as he was dragged across the Chicago pavement. That man was Bernie Sanders, not a senator, not a presidential candidate, but a 21-year-old student ready to risk arrest for justice. Bernie's journey to that moment began far away, in a modest Brooklyn apartment. Born in 1941, the son of a Polish immigrant who struggled to provide, Bernie grew up in a household that knew hardship. His father worked long hours, yet money was always tight. From an early age, Bernie understood what it meant to feel powerless against larger forces. That sense of struggle shaped his heart and sharpened his awareness of injustice. When Bernie entered the University of Chicago in the early 1960s, the city was divided by invisible but unbreakable walls. African American families were confined to crumbling neighborhoods, schools were underfunded and segregated, and housing opportunities were blocked by discriminatory policies. Bernie, who had always believed in fairness, could not ignore what was happening around him. He joined the Congress of Racial Equality, known as CORE, one of the nation's most active civil rights groups. While many students of his age focused on lectures and exams, Bernie organized sit-ins, meetings, and protests. In 1962, he helped lead one of the longest student sit-ins in the university's history. The administration had quietly enforced segregated housing, and Bernie sat shoulder to shoulder with black students, demanding equal treatment. His message was clear: no human being should be denied dignity. But the turning point came in 1963, during protests against Chicago's segregated schools. Black parents and students were demanding fair education, and Bernie stood with them. When police tried to shut down the demonstration, Bernie refused to step aside. He was shoved, dragged, and handcuffed, yet he remained defiant. The photograph of him being arrested that day became one of the earliest public images of his activism. To Bernie, the arrest was not shameful, it was a badge of honor. Later that same year, Bernie traveled to Washington, D.C. He stood among a massive crowd of dreamers and activists at the historic March on Washington, where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his legendary "I Have a Dream" speech. For Bernie, hearing those words was not just an inspiration, it was a call to action, one he would carry for the rest of his life. Decades passed, and Bernie Sanders rose from local mayor to U.S. senator and even a presidential candidate. Yet whenever he spoke of justice, his words carried the weight of those early struggles. Unlike many politicians, Bernie could point back to his own history, sitting in protest, marching in the streets, and going to jail for equality. Bernie's civil rights fight is more than a story about one man.
Whose inspiring story of politician would you like to hear next? Tell us in the comments below.